You've probably heard it a million times. All debt is bad. It's a trap, right? Something you should run from. But what if that's not the whole story? Today, we're going to look at a perspective that completely flips that idea on its head.
I mean, this ancient proverb really says it all, doesn't it? This is pretty much how our culture sees debt. It's this heavy weight, this burden. You're basically a servant to whoever you owe money to.
Okay, but let's just press pause on that for a second. Is it always true? Does every single person who borrows money have to be a servant? Well, the perspective we're digging into today says nope. There's another way to look at this whole thing.
And this is where it starts to get really interesting. Take a look at the world's biggest debtors. We're talking about the United States, China, and Japan. Now, you'd think they'd be in a ton of trouble, but they are also the 3 wealthiest economies on the entire planet. So, what's going on? How can the biggest borrowers also be the richest? It's a real puzzle.
This seeming contradiction, well, it's at the very heart of what some call the debt paradox. So let's dive in and try to make sense of it.
So let's flip this on its head for a second. We've just seen these economic giants with mountains of debt. But what about countries with almost no debt, places like Macau or Brunei? You'd think they'd be shining examples of prosperity, right? But they're not the world's wealthiest nations. So this tells us something really important. Just avoiding debt doesn't automatically make you rich.
And that brings us to the real question here. If the sheer size of the loan isn't what separates the wealthy from the not-so-wealthy, then what's the missing piece? What's the real factor at play?
Well, the answer lies in a super simple but really powerful idea. Not all debt is created equal. It's all about getting your head around the difference between good debt and bad debt.
All right, let's start with the one we all know, bad debt. This is when you borrow money for stuff that's just consumed, things that lose value the second you buy them. Think about that credit card bill for a vacation that's already over, or a loan for some fancy furniture. It's a total drain because it doesn't bring any more money in.
But then you've got the other side of the coin, good debt. Now this is where debt actually starts working for you. It's borrowing money to buy an asset, something that can make you money or go up in value over time, like a mortgage on a rental house where the tenant's rent check pays the loan for you. Now, of course, there's risk involved. Businesses can fail, things can go wrong, but the whole point is to build your wealth, not drain it.
So let's just quickly break down the key differences here. Bad debt, that's for consumption and it makes you poor. Good debt, that's for investment and it has the potential to make you wealthier. But honestly, the last row on this chart is the real game changer. With bad debt, you are the one working to pay it off. With good debt, the whole goal is to have your asset, your rental property, your business, pay off the debt for you.
And you know, this whole idea of using debt to get ahead, it isn't some newfangled financial trick. Actually, there's a fascinating case study from an ancient text that illustrates this exact principle of turning a bad situation into a good one. The analysis we're looking at focuses on this incredible story about a widow who is in deep, deep trouble. Her husband died, and now a creditor is literally at her door ready to take her 2 sons as payment for the debt. This is the definition of bad debt, right? The consequences are absolutely devastating.
But the advice she's given in the story is just a masterclass in financial strategy. Step 1, she's told to borrow again, but this time she borrows productive assets, empty jars. That's taking on good debt. Step 2, she uses those jars to create something of value. She fills them with oil to sell. Step 3, she uses that new money to pay off the original bad debt. And the best part, step 4, she gets to live on the rest of the profit. It's a complete financial turnaround.
So, this is a great story, but how do we actually apply this ancient wisdom today? Well, the story offers some really clear principles for using debt as a tool, not as a trap.
First thing is credibility. The widow could only borrow those jars because her neighbors trusted her. For us, that means our reputation, our credit history, those are huge assets. Second, you have to know what you're doing before you borrow. You need the financial smarts to spot a good opportunity. And third, this isn't about wild speculation. Good debt is about using a proven plan, not throwing borrowed money at some risky idea you're just testing out.
All right, so we've looked at massive global economies, and we've looked at this ancient story. What's the final, ultimate takeaway from all this?
At the end of the day, the argument is this. Debt is just a tool. It's like a hammer. It's not inherently good or bad. In the hands of a skilled carpenter, a hammer can build a house. But in the wrong hands, it can do a lot of damage. The outcome, positive or negative, depends completely on who is using it and why.
And that really leaves us with one last thing to think about. If we can reframe something as scary as financial debt and see it as a nuanced tool, well, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other debts in our lives, debts of time or favors or other obligations, could we start to see differently if we applied these same principles?